Cena could have came back and done something totally different right now. And everyone always starts jumping on this thing like, well, he doesn't need to turn heel, charities, Make-A-Wish, blah, blah. I didn't say turn heel. Do something different. Have a little bit of an edge.
Good evening, Jobber Nation. Welcome to an exclusive episode of the JTP Lounge. As always, I'm Janelle from HR here with Sir Wilkins and Mrblacc, and we have a very flashy, a very interesting guest with us this evening that I feel like I should steal his jacket in all of his glory. But before we let him introduce himself to the viewers and listeners that are watching live and that will be watching later.
We're live?
I want to let everyone know once again, you can find Jobber Slam on Title Match Network. They have a 7-day free trial period. So if you were unfortunately unable to come to Jobber Slam, which still people are talking about to this day, you can watch it yourself online on Title Match Network. So shout out to them, one of our key sponsors of the show. Once again, we will be at Legends this Saturday for SummerSlam. We got a lot of RSVPs, a lot of people who's been talking about it, so it'll be good to get everybody before, the end of the summer kind of party we got going on. So we're excited to have that. Anything else before we jump into our flashy guest here?
No. What else? Oh, heads up, we're doing a SmackDown and MSG after party and pre-show party and a little viewing party as well. So let's go.
So for those that are not vaccinated and can't get into the garden, you're gonna
need to be vaccinated anyways.
No, by the 13th is when they're mandating. When it really goes into effect. Like you can get fined after the 13th of September. So it actually is right before. So, some underground shit. But anyway,
that's some real BS right there. Real BS.
As Sir Wilkins mentioned, SmackDown will be here at the Garden. So those that are unable to go, we're gonna do the happy hour right before. They're gonna have the viewing party there, and then the after party. So we'll be at Legends all night long. But also too, Rich Swan, hilarious. Last but not least, for this weekend, for this Saturday at Legends, we are doing a raffle of the wing belt. Probably one of my favorite belts, and I'm not even into merch.
I should go run and grab mine right now really quickly and show it.
How many belts you got?
I got 2. I only got 2. I'm not that guy, but I got 2.
Okay.
No, 3. My bad. 3. I got 3.
Oh, you're that guy then. If you got 3.
No, but 2 of them I bought right after high school because when you're a little kid and you always wanted the belts. And your parents were like, next time. The moment I started making money, I bought myself belts. I was like, one of the first. My ex was like, what are you doing? I'm like, trust me, I've wanted these since I was 6 years old. And I got the wing gold and the big gold. Those are the only 2 I got. And then because I started I'd drink and then I'd pull them out because I was always the wrestling guy in high school. My friends would always start posing with them and all this stuff. I was like, okay, so I need a belt that I don't care about getting wrecked. So I bought the current WWE Championship. So now when I go to weddings, and I'm at that age where all my friends started getting married and stuff. Now when I went to weddings and stuff and I have it in my trunk, I just pull out the old WWE Championship and everyone's just like, yeah, let me take a picture with it. Let me
just rolling out the belt during a wedding.
I'm the wrestling guy. I'm the wrestling class.
That is awesome. Well, as he just started talking and we're feeling a vibe, why don't you let the viewers and listeners know who you are?
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Justin. I am the founder and creator and sole runner of The Wrestling Classic. I also host my own podcast called The TWC Show every week, which you can find on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and everywhere else. Write articles at 1:37 p.m. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can see my casual conversation interviews with Renee Paquette, most recently Gary Vee. So many names I can't think of right now on top of my head, but Eric Bischoff, a whole bunch of people. So you guys can check out those interviews, and you can also listen to them wherever you listen to the TWC show. And, if you follow my page, all the links are in my bio. Check me out on Instagram. That's the home and hub of everything. I started that page in 2014. My ex-girlfriend didn't want me to have Instagram. Made a wrestling page on the side. Shit popped off. Don't know what happened. I'm in a whole different place now. Now people be sending me flashy jackets like this. I'm not even a flashy guy. But now I need to work on things like the Jobbertears podcast. So here we are. I haven't been able to go to wrestling shows for a year, but I have all these jackets I usually go to wrestling shows. But here we are on the Jobbertears podcast. And I don't remember exactly who. I'm pretty sure it was you, Wilkins, but I met one of you guys at that Ring of Honor New Japan show in New York when we all were sitting in the media section and Bret Hart got jumped at the Hall of Fame. But I don't remember exactly who it was. We were sitting near each other.
It was probably Janelle. It was probably Janelle.
No, I wasn't at when Bret Hart got
Who
jumped.
was that Ring of Honor thing?
I wasn't there.
It wasn't none of us. No. We was at Legends out there. Yeah.
No, Janelle was there.
I was not at the Hall of Fame.
She was not at the Hall of Fame, at the Ring of Honor show. At the Ring
of Honor show.
We were at the Ring of Honor New Japan show in Madison Square Garden in the media section, all sitting there. And I was sitting next to someone from the Jobbertears podcast.
And I was Janelle there.
And we all started talking to each other because we were all on our phones because Bret Hart got jumped at the Hall of Fame in the middle of the show.
Oh, okay.
And then we're like, oh, did you see this? Or did you see that? And we were all like trying to get the news around. And I was sending videos to people.
So we were on the floor.
Videos from the Hall of Fame.
We were on the floor, and that's actually it. Oh man, that night, whole bunch of firsts.
And that's when I discovered the Jobbertears podcast. Was that day.
But it was funny because I was so funny story about that whole day. So I'm never into New Japan, but I started to really get into Ring of Honor at the time. So everyone, I caught the terrible case of FOMO. So I literally was home all day that Saturday, and I was in bed, and everybody was in the group chat talking about, we're going to Hooters, we're going to meet up, we're going to do this. And I was just like, fuck, I want to go now. I literally bought the ticket 3 hours before the show, and I got floor seats for like $120. And then I get there, and I'm with my homeboy, because Ish went with me. Black Ish went with me. And I got tickets, and we went, and I was on the floor. And then this is when Mega Ran performed in the ring. They were like sitting like 3 rows in front of me. It was Mega Ran, Arizona, the other guy, one of the other homeboys they do the podcast with, and Westside Gun. And it was all sitting in that row. And then I started chopping it up with one of his boys, and then we was all sitting. But then that's what he said when everybody was on their phone, like, "Oh shit, Bret Hart got jumped. Oh shit, what's going on?"
That was a thing.
It was me.
Yeah, I told you. Yeah, because we did the after party for Ring of Honor and New Japan at Legends.
Yeah, because Legends is down the block from the Garden. So what ended up happening was one of our homegirls, it was her birthday party / after party thing. And that was the same night I met CFO, actually at Legends.
Those guys are dope. John was
they're like super cool.
I remember John kept telling me to come. He's like, come down to Legends. That's so sad. That's the last WrestleMania I got to go to. That's so sad. But
yeah,
because then there was a pandemic, and then this year I didn't go because I'm in Canada, and it's a hard time getting down there. But
well, I know someone that came down from Toronto.
No, you can come down. It's a process, and I wasn't double vaxxed at the time. I'm double vaxxed now, so it was like it would have been a bigger process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but if you were double vaxxed already, then you could come back. Don't have to quarantine. Some people would sacrifice and come back and quarantine for 14 days. I don't know if I could have done that again. But anyways, that's when I discovered the Jobbertears podcast. It was an epic weekend. And now I'm on you guys' show. And like I said off the air, like I love scrolling down my feed and coming across you guys' videos. And you guys are just, unpopular opinions, popular opinions, doesn't matter what it is, but the energy that you guys bring. You're all just like yelling at each other. The energy is high. Everyone's so passionate about what they're saying. And half the time I'm like, you know what? I agree. They're not wrong. Like sometimes it just from my perspective, I'm like, oh, they got a fucking point there. That makes sense. And yeah.
That's like 80% of the people that gets it. They're like, you know what? You guys may have something going on there. And then it's the other 20 that be like, you bunch of haters. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about.
Well, that's
because they don't. But the thing is that they don't listen to the whole thing. So they only pick and choose what they want.
Yeah.
First, we gotta start off with opinions, and you out here slandering and stomping a mud hole into Jonathan Cena.
I want to know what's your beef with Jonathan Cena.
Okay, so guys, we might be all around the same age. I'm turning 30 in November, so in a couple of months, right? So
yeah, we're all.
I am that era. I was a little kid. In like the Monday Night Wars and Ruthless Aggression era, like that was my time and stuff, right? And I have an older brother who's 10 years older than me, so I grew up on VHS tapes and LJN action figures and magazines, Macho Man, and watching the old school stuff. And also a big WCW guy because when I was a little kid, I was out to watch like Raw up until like I want to say 98, and then 99 is like a blur to me because that's when I'd have to sneak around and watch it. But I was always allowed to watch WCW because Terry and Savage and Piper and all the guys my parents knew were all over there. But Sable's stripping over here and they got a porn star and whatnot. So I grew up in that era. So I am that group of people that I really, really ran with John Cena from like I want to say when up until he won the belt. But from the moment he got drafted to Raw forward, I really was not a John Cena fan. I'm part of that era. I was the guy that was booing John Cena. The Cena sucks player. I was on that side of the.
You were the Cena sucks guy.
And to his benefit, like, I would say, and just generally overall, like I had a dark time with WWE. Like I watched Monday almost. I watched Raw every Monday, just almost, which is crazy because that's the show Cena was on. But that's because that's what I did on Mondays, like religiously, as I watched Raw. And when they moved SmackDown to Fridays, it was like the worst case scenario because this is pre-PVR, DVR era. Unless you popped a VHS tape and recorded SmackDown, you missed it. You didn't get the highlights and full videos on YouTube right after on social media like you do now. So I used to miss SmackDown a lot because they moved on Fridays, and I was in high school getting drunk. So like, I watched Monday, I watched Impact on Thursday, and I didn't watch SmackDown. But 2007, 2011 was a really blur, dark area for me. And then Punk dropped the pipe bomb. I was out of high school, and I kind of got back into WWE fully, and I started watching everything again. And after 2011, I also kind of started having some more respect for John Cena and liking him more, and realizing that when he was a little bit out of the title picture more, I didn't mind him so much. Although he was in the main event when Punk should have been in the main event during Punk's run. After that, he was
just like Rock, just like Punk should have probably headlined WrestleMania 29 instead of Rock.
Mm-hmm.
No,
just like Punk should never have lost the belt to The Rock at Royal Rumble, but he could have just lost that Elimination Chamber, and that would have just been okay. There's a lot of
no.
But my point is this: my thing with Cena is this. I actually really, that's the story of my background with Cena and why I hated him. I was one of those guys in those years. I grew to like John Cena 2013 to like 2019 when he started putting over Kevin Owens and AJ Styles, and he started actually having banger matches with Punk, Bryan, Styles, Kevin Owens. These indie guys all came in and made Cena look good. But prior to that, like I liked all the guys that faced Cena: Randy Orton, Edge, Batista, Triple H. All those guys were my guys. Everyone but Cena. But after that, like I was like, I kind of respect Cena. He's putting on banger matches. I really like this guy. He went away. Okay, he went away, did his Hollywood thing, did the Firefly Funhouse. Everybody comes back different. This guy comes back exactly the fucking same, and that's what pissed me off. And I know, and that's my whole argument. Everyone's like, he's this, what if it's not broke, why not fix it? He came back the exact same, nothing different. The exact same promo, the exact same jorts and color for t-shirts, the exact same stick. And everyone's like, well, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It was broke in 2007. It should have been changed back then. And people booed him all the way up until 2016. And then finally, people just kind of like tolerated him. And now he comes back doing the same thing. And everyone's just happy about it over nostalgia. You guys are nostalgic. You really don't enjoy this. This is a nostalgia run. He's still young enough and relevant enough, such like a Randy Orton, such like certain guys, where he could come back and still change and be different. He's not The Rock. He's not The Undertaker. He's not Triple H. He doesn't need to be a nostalgia act. Those guys come back knowing they're a nostalgia act. Sting comes back knowing he's a nostalgia act. Cena could have came back and done something totally different right now. And everyone always starts jumping on this thing like, well, he doesn't need to turn heel, charities, Make-A-Wish, blah, blah. I didn't say turn heel. Do something different. Have a little bit of an edge. Change your outfit. Do just anything different. Just different.
Do you really think you can see Jonathan Cena in like a singlet?
I don't even care about that. He can still wear the jorts, but just do something different. The promos are still cheesy. They're still so 2003. They're corny. He's corny. The only good thing about him is his theme music because I love that shit. But other than that,
a hard bop, I keep telling y'all.
Other than that, like it's stupid. And I have a thing about the old guys, and this goes for Edge, this goes for Cena, this goes for what Christian just did, this goes for Sting, this goes for all the old guys that come back. If you're gonna come back and be a nostalgia, it's different if you're gonna come back and be active on that roster on a weekly basis and stay here for most of the year and whatnot. But if you're gonna come back and you have a 5 appearance schedule, or you're gonna be a nostalgia act or something, I'm okay with you coming back and working with people and having a good match on the card and whatnot. But if you're going to come back and be in the title picture, then that's just stupid. Why are you in the title picture? Because realistically, this could have been Finn Balor and Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And I know a lot of people don't care about that. I think that's a good idea. But let me tell you this.
Popped when Finn came out and tried to challenge him.
Finn Balor wrestled Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules. Are we going to remember as much as if Finn Balor wrestled Roman Reigns at SummerSlam? Because people fucking don't. They don't. And casual fans definitely won't. And how are you going to build new stars? You're going to get the casual fans to like the new young people. But how are you going to get the casual fans to like the new young people and the casual fans are only watching the big 4 pay-per-views? You think the casual fans are going to watch SummerSlam and be like, I want to watch Extreme Rules? I don't really think so. They're going to watch SummerSlam because it's SummerSlam. Most of the time, the WrestleMania ratings are so big just because the name brand WrestleMania is bigger than itself. It should have been Finn Balor and Roman Reigns. You could have Cena work Kevin Owens on the show or anybody else. How you could have Cena work Finn Balor and had Roman Reigns face someone else. But the full fact that John Cena is in the main event for the title against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, because these people think they can't draw without John Cena, is a problem in itself, because you would be able to draw if you built some other stars outside of John Cena, and you're not really doing that. All you're doing is bringing John Cena to draw people in. That's on you. That's not on them.
But I mean, do you have the same energy when it comes to William Goldberg?
I have the same energy for Goldberg. He shouldn't be in the title picture now. His ass should have been retired after his first feud with Brock. That's all we needed. Edge should never have been in the title picture. That pissed me off. And I'm so happy we're getting Edge and Seth, because this is what Edge should have been doing since he's been back. The shit with Orton, the shit with Seth. The stuff with Roman, wasting my time. Stressed me out. Did not want him to win the belt. You're going to ruin Roman's momentum. Don't want Cena to win the belt. You're going to ruin Roman's momentum. I don't want.
Do you think John Cena is going to walk out 17-time champion?
Absolutely, positively not.
Really?
Do you know what?
The guy's got.
I think he's going to win.
Things.
I think he's going to win.
I don't think so.
If they on SmackDown this week, they go head to head, and if Roman Reigns somehow, some way spears John Cena, and it ends with Cena laying down on the mat, John Cena will become champion on Saturday.
I don't think they're touching each other this weekend.
You want to know what the best thing about this guy was? He always did what was best for business. Didn't care about winning. Didn't care about winning belts. Didn't care about being over.
I know. That's why Terry decided to,
Mark and I never beat Hulk Hogan once. Didn't beat Hogan once. Not even a single time. Because he always did what was best for business. If John Cena knew what was best for business, he would not win this Sunday.
But the thing about it is this way, right? We talking about John Cena coming back through the same stuff.
Same shit.
A lot of this, they try to sell tickets. John Cena is the only real mega crossover star that they have. Let me finish, because I'll let you rock. John Cena is the only mega star crossover star that they have. Roman is kind of bubbling up, but it doesn't feel like the old school crossover star that we used to have, such as The Rock, Stone Cold, even D'Lo Brown, Kane, all these other people used to see. That's not how they formulate the television. So John Cena come back, you may think that a casual fan may not stay, but it's up to WWE to create a product after. And the problem is they're in the moment, and then people will watch Raw because that's the go-to show they will watch. And Raw and them being sucky. That's not on the performance floor. That's clearly on WWE's floor, right? Listen, if I'm a casual fan who knows John Cena, if I'm coming back to watch SummerSlam, I want to see John Cena that I know. I don't want to see no new crowd like, who the hell is this nigga? Like, who is he? I don't want to watch it if I was a casual fan. Just like I'm gonna compare it to if I watch Girl Meets World. It was a spin-off to Boy Meets World. When Sean came back, I expected to see Sean of the old. I get it, he's a little bit older, but it's still the same Sean and Corey bromance that they have. If he came back and switched it up, I'm like, what is this crap? I'm not watching it. Listen, a lot of us in television, especially us TV watchers, like a certain format. And WWE is a TV show. So you cannot deviate that character so much. Will he change up eventually? Yeah, eventually. But who knows that if he came back and said, yo, I want to do this, but he said that you can't do this because they kind of BS'd him. And what happened? Bray left. He did address what happened to him. He did address the whole Firefly situation, but he couldn't expand upon it because they fired the dude. So I get what you're saying, but you also got to look at it from the casual point of view. You cannot deviate so much from the formula, especially if you're trying to sell tickets. And when John came back, ticket sales went up. You have to have a bigger match. Listen, you have to have certain marquee things. And before Sasha and them end up, getting whatever happened in this situation, that was a match where a casual fan look at that like, dang, who are you female? I know her from the Mandalorian. I seen her with Meg Thee Stallion. This is good. So I get what you're saying. You want John to switch up, but you also got to look at a standpoint of like, how can you advertise a brand new person? Look like, who is this person?
But
so got to advertise.
If Cena wanted to come back and do the exact same thing, like I said, that's fine. But then he should have not have been in the title picture. For me, him being in the title picture is a waste of building a new star, because you can have Cena on the card and still build a new star in the title picture, and people would still buy tickets and come there to see John Cena if he wasn't in the title picture.
But
Just
do
like
you
my
still
brother
think?
said,
But
wait, hold on. Just like my brother said, and you said this, and we said this millions of times, it's the company's fault for not building up stars. Finn Balor, I'm sorry, he's wrestling hot, but he's not crossover hot. He's not.
But you can't build any more stars unless you put him in that position. If Hogan, Randy, and all these guys didn't leave to WCW, would they have had would they've been forced to put Triple H, Austin, these guys in these positions? These old guys keep coming back. They have nowhere else to go, and that's why none of these younger guys are getting put in these positions.
But they still mix the marquee guys with the new guys, though. Ultimate Warrior was Triple H. Marquee, like, that was a low key, like, it gave Triple H the rub, but Ultimate Warrior was selfish. It's a whole other story.
Got to rise during the Attitude Era because people left. The old guys were somewhere else. The old guys just keep coming back now, and these young guys never get those opportunities. The fact that Kevin Owens is not even on this card is ridiculous. But John Cena, Edge, and Randy Orton, and whatever are. Guys are staying a lot longer now. Guys are staying a lot longer now. And the fact that I can say that John Cena has been doing the same thing since 2006 is wild. Wild. The exact same thing. Not even changing once. The exact same thing.
He switched to the moveset, dogs. Like, once John Cena was not the main marquee
I'm a
guy.
character storytelling guy. I don't care how many moves he can do. How are you investing in the character?
But you just said that he hasn't changed since. That's what you said. But he did change his moveset. He put on
his
different
character hasn't changed since 2006. Besides the time he was temporarily Marine.
I think one of the biggest things is that you don't change John, you evolve John.
But he hasn't though.
But I will give you that. But I will have to push back. You can't put Finn in the main event at SummerSlam.
That's fair.
Finn ain't blockbuster.
My example.
No, I don't do that. I listen. When Finn came out, it was like, oh, he's coming back for the title he never lost from the first time. That it made story-wise, it made sense. So
that makes no sense because he fought Brock for that title. He fought Brock for the Universal Championship, so he did get his title shot. People just forget that part of history.
It was about him being the first ever Universal Champion, and he won.
But he got his shot already. He got his shot already, though. It doesn't matter. He got his shot already, and he lost.
Story-wise, it made sense. So that's why when he came out, for me, I said, "Oh shit, they doing something different." So that was the first thing I did say. I was like, "Oh, they not giving us the original plan, which we all heard. They giving us something different." But then Baron Corbin ass came out like bum ass Corbin and fucked that up. So it's just like, okay,
best thing on TV. Best thing on TV right now.
Oh,
best thing on TV.
No, it's entertaining. This is the best Corbin's been. The most entertaining.
But with Finn, I get what everybody's saying. Really, because Finn ain't blockbuster. We all know that. He ain't blockbuster. But if Roman wins, hopefully he does. But because it makes no sense for John to win. No sense. He ain't The Rock.
None. Unless, what if somebody cashes in? Then what? What if that is the ultimate curve?
So I would be down with that because you're building a star.
So are you saying okay? Well, we're gonna fantasy book. Are we saying John Cena wins? And then Biggie cashes it on John Cena? Because it will connect. Because remember, John Cena put him in the video years ago. So it connects.
Do you guys want John to get 17?
Yo, that is the ultimate reach right there, B. That's the ultimate reach, B.
Yeah, no,
like,
that was
nobody
cool.
watched that video.
Cool. I was like, what?
Nobody watched that video. Nobody.
I like connecting old school. I like collecting things together.
Listen, I'm all about connecting the dots, but I didn't get
nobody watched that. So basically, I broke John Cena a gym record. So this is why I cashed in on you, John Cena. No.
They just have history together.
But no, I think
what is true? When Dwayne comes back, we don't want to see Dwayne versus Roman, right? We all want that. Most people.
Well, that movie I said from 3 years ago. That's gonna be the match that puts Roman in a different conversation.
So if Rock comes back to face Roman and Roman gets to retire the Rock officially and stuff, I don't even want that to be for the title. I hope Roman loses the title before that because it doesn't need to be a title match. You need that title to build new stars. Cena could have fought Roman on SummerSlam without this title here if they somehow got it off him ahead of time. Use the title to build new people. That's all I'm saying. I don't care.
But The Rock ain't doing a one-on-one match with Roman.
You don't think
Yes,
so?
he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
And anyone that thinks Cena's gonna win, that's a point because you brought The Rock. And anyone that thinks Cena's gonna win, he's already said in interviews, like when I'm filming movies and doing stuff, like there's really big insurance situations that won't let me wrestle. So him winning the belt and going to go make movies and do TV shows again isn't gonna allow him to just come back and wrestle.
But that's why I'm saying he would. That's why, like, if they pulled the trigger and had Cena win number 17, he would lose it the same night.
Can I ask you this? Because I'm less scared about Cena winning. I don't think Cena's gonna win personally. I have my beef with Cena being the same for the last 15 years, but I don't think he's gonna win personally. But I am a little bit scared that Goldberg's gonna beat Bobby Lashley.
I'll never say that. There's no fear of walking on Armageddon. There's no fear of walking almighty.
Now when Goldberg speared him,
and Biggie's dream match has been Goldberg. He said it many times. He wants to wrestle Goldberg.
Okay. For what? Like Biggie, another one of my man's gonna destroy Goldberg. Listen, Goldberg touched Bobby Lashley. We all know the golden rule in wrestling. Once somebody gets it offered for the pay-per-view, they're not winning, dog.
They're not winning. So when Goldberg speared him,
Hold on. If that happens, regardless, either way, it's storyline. It makes sense because Bobby's been beefing with New Day. So, if let's say Goldberg just does win, Biggie cashes in.
Biggie has a cash in regardless. It doesn't actually matter what side of the brand.
He cashes in, and but then now you got Goldberg. Now you have Bobby versus Biggie because Goldberg's out the picture.
Correct.
He beats.
Okay. So we're fantasy booking. We're doing this. What if? So let's say Bobby and Goldberg ends and Bobby wins, and Brock Lesnar music hits. Then what?
There's a shake up in September. I don't know. All I'm saying is Biggie on Raw.
No. Actually,
I don't think Lashley and Lesnar's gonna happen to him.
Bro.
I'm not saying that it's happening tomorrow. I'm not saying Survivor Series. I'm saying, like, listen, we complain and always talk about storyline, long-term booking. It doesn't happen. What if Brock Lesnar music hits, Brock comes out, they do a face-to-face, and they find a way to keep it going all the way to Mania? Then what?
The thing about it is, I can see what you mean, but it's too early because we're still in the summertime. Right now, we're in the between SummerSlam and Survivor Series. You know nothing big happens until after they set the road to WrestleMania. The cheddar makes no sense right now. Like, you're doing too much now. You gotta wait. You gotta patient.
If you had Biggie cash in, win the belt, hold it for a bit, Bobby somehow wins it back, then Lesnar comes out like in December or January or something.
Royal Rumble.
But then my fear would be, and I love me some Brocky. My fear would be him winning the Rumble then.
And I'd be okay with that.
You wouldn't be.
No.
You literally just said they need to build stars.
No. You pick and choose what you want to do. B. A typical wrestling fan. Wishy-washy.
I gave you guys a precursor that I hate John Cena for years, and that's where it came from. I didn't hide that. I said I was a Cena suck fan. It's just residual hatred towards the guy that it came back because he came back doing the same thing he did in 2006, and I got PTSD. Your Boy Meets World reference, I loved it. That was one of my favorite shows growing up.
Fair.
I almost couldn't argue it, so I just shut up. But I just don't like John Cena. So there is a little bit of a bias there. But I do stand true though to the fact that I consider Brock a little bit different because he has been an attraction consistently for the time being. And he's even changed a bit. The Brock we have today is not the Brock in 2002, nor is it the Brock we had in 2012.
Because he's not, he's not 100 pounds lighter.
You know?
No,
because I don't know why I don't know what it is about Cena I want to change, but I just wish he was just a little bit different. And maybe it's just his promo style. Like, that's exactly the same. Like, his
promo pulled 2.8 million people.
Indy Hartwell kissing Dexter Lumis on YouTube pulled 4 million people. People like weird shit. And no one's saying John Cena's not over.
2 million.
Listen. I'm Indian and shit, right? I'm Indian. India believes
My
wrestling's
favorite
still
people.
real. India believes wrestling's still real, and they fucking love John Cena. They think he's the man. They think John.
I mean,
Cena
did you not
lost
see what
on
happened in
gold.
fucking
And
Saudi
those are
and
their
everything?
3.8 million people that are tuning in to see John Cena because they think it's still real.
They really do?
They do. If Bobby Lashley's a champion now, they will think Bobby Lashley's the strongest person, and then that's legit. To them, it's still they don't have the same grasp as we do on kayfabe.
I mean, listen.
If you read YouTube comments stuff, and I can say this, I'm Indian. You read the YouTube comments and stuff, they talking that shit like this shit's real. Like,
I mean, listen.
It's
I
real
love
for them.
you. I love you
But you
because,
know
and I
what?
love that for them. I love that for them. I wish we were like that over here.
Yes,
we killed
because
it.
if we were,
We killed it.
if we believed that it was real, first of all, the ratings would be higher. Two, I wouldn't have to like put people in their place when they find out I like wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So
All the time.
I'm a little jealous because of their ignorance.
And I
I'm
know
a
how
little jealous.
popular John Cena is. I'll never deny the popularity of John Cena. I respect John Cena. And I say this, but everyone always skips this part of my captions. I would love to sit down and have a drink or a beer with John Cena. If I ever ran a company, one of the first people I'd want to hire is John Cena. And I also know that at the end of the day, John Cena's not making all these decisions. I'm sure he came back and Vince guys are like, listen, we want you to do the exact same thing because we need you to draw a house and then you can go do whatever you want. I'm not blaming John Cena. Mostly it's the WWE's fault for not trying to take a risk and trying to do something different with John Cena. And not even just now, throughout the years, because I'm pretty sure in interviews I've heard John Cena say like, no, I've even thought about it, but they never let me.
He's wanted to turn heel, but because of the whole Make-A-Wish and all that stuff.
And the older
didn't pull
music,
the
listen,
trigger.
I'm not really against John Cena, but I just hate the idea of John Cena, the character. You know what I mean? And that it's the exact same.
That's
And it
perfectly
gives me
fine.
PTSD to the same John Cena. That
So
used
wait,
to
so
be
That's
I'm
perfectly fine.
intrigued
Actually,
by
like
what other wrestlers do you not like? Like now I'm intrigued because now I want to be like, who else doesn't rub you the right way?
When I was a kid, I never liked Hogan. My brother was
that's a
that
given.
guy. I was a Savage guy. I was like, this guy.
Yeah, me
You don't understand, like,
too.
outside, look, it's really odd because really outside of Stone Cold, I want to say, and maybe Flair, I never really liked the top guys. I'm the type of guy that hates Mickey Mouse but likes Goofy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like Tommy on the Rugrats. I like Chucky because I hate the Spotlight Hog and the Grandstander and the Hot Dogger. I like the Randy Ortons and the Randy Savages and those guys that never. And I consider Brett and Sean to be guys that really never got to reach that top because those older guys never passed it to them, and they were still those guys that were crawling up until they started fighting each other and both split. But that's just who I've been. So I think any guy that was like outside of maybe Flair and Austin, anybody that was like a top guy, I never really liked. You know, because even Rock, like you could say, this is sometimes an unpopular opinion. And
Go ahead.
And I got in a fight with this the first time on that hashtag show and won this argument. I think hindsight being 2020, looking back, people look at The Rock at the same level as Stone Cold in the wrestling bubble. But outside of the wrestling bubble, The Rock's, right? Like movie, Hollywood, everything's doing everything's out there. But when you look inside just the wrestling bubble, Austin always was just a little bit higher than The Rock. Rock had one solid year when Austin was out with the neck injury that The Rock was, and that was the year 2000. But even the moment Austin came back, people were conflicted. Austin, and everyone was always asking that question, like, who did you like better, Austin or The Rock? I'm like, well, for me as a kid, because I was a kid, 96, 97, 98, 99, I rocked with Austin the entire time. The Rock, I only, like, I thought he was funny and stuff in 99, but I only really started rocking with him in 2000. And
okay, that's reasonable.
2002, and then he was gone.
First of all, you was ready to jump down his throat about his opinion. And
so my thing is this, like, I think hindsight being 2020, just the way that we all look at things, and I love how everyone always forgets 2004 to like 2013 when The Rock wasn't doing so great in Hollywood and he was kind of behind the scenes and nobody saw where he was and what he was really doing that often. He was making really crappy movies, but then he popped off in like 2014, all this great stuff, and now it's like The Rock's the biggest star in professional wrestling. He's the biggest star in the world overall, one of the biggest stars in the world. But if you're just looking in the wrestling bubble and you had to only pick one of them to put on the Mount Rushmore, I'd pick Austin for the wrestling.
How can you say that? How can you say that? That's blasphemy. The Rock had the best promos. I have to admit that to you. Stone Cold was more of a. If Stone Cold didn't have bad knees, I think Stone Cold had like more of a overall better package. Because when he was hot, people bought his shirt. Like his shirt is equivalent to what the Bullet Club shirt is today. So his shirt was hot. And The Rock, he never even had merch that you wanted to buy. Like it was just like
he just had that one Brahma Bull shirt because I had that as a kid.
Listen,
he had that one Brahma Bull shirt.
If Austin wasn't so hot, would The Rock have been able to pop off in that era?
Exactly. And honestly, nobody to this day had that Rock and Bull shirt. They haven't released it, none of that. So that shows you the popularity of Stone Cold. And you are right though, because it took The Rock a while to become The Rock. Like a lot of people don't understand this. Like The Rock make a lot of corny jokes, but his delivery and his cadence, you looking like, all right, because when he does come back now, you're looking like you don't feel that. Wait. You don't feel that wrestling electricity. You just feel him. He's just a bigger than life character. When Stone Cold come back, you feel the wrestling electricity. You feel it. Think about it, Janelle. Really think about it. You like The Rock because overall he just
like if I had to choose, I would.
Let me finish. You like The Rock. Like he is right though, because The Rock has a larger personality. If you talk to him outside of wrestling, larger than life, because it's that Stone Cold. We talk to him outside of wrestling. He's more of a, he comes off very. He's not so large that you look like, dang. So you can walk right past Stone Cold, but then when you talk, he actually talk, you look like, nah, this man is different. Like Stone Cold got that wrestling electricity. B. The Rock has it, but he has I just know how to project myself larger than life. Like Stone Cold got electricity.
When the glass shatters compared to the If You Smell, that glass shatter is different.
Oh yes, think about it.
Okay, so I go based off of experience. So my experience wise, they're kind of neck and neck in that sense. When you mention electricity, just because the moment you mentioned that, it reminded me. It took me back to WrestleMania in Dallas, and Rock came out and they had the Rock sign. And he had to light it on fire and all that shit. When I tell you that stadium, fucking the same reaction that they had when Austin's glass shook, it was the same.
Janelle, I was there when that glass shook. It was different.
Oh!
When that glass shook, but there's a bias because it was in Dallas, and also as much as we expected Austin to come out, it wasn't as heavily as promoted as we knew The Rock was going to be there. So I'll give you those two things. But when because remember it was Mick Foley came out, then
it was during New Day and all that stuff because
we weren't expecting it, and then Austin came out, so that does play a huge part of it.
I give you the
but that Austin pop was way louder than that Rock
concession when I heard the glass shake, and then I ran back to my seat.
I was too, and my video of it is me running, trying to watch Austin. So I
go based off experience. So when you talk with John Cena, when John Cena came back, they did the Raw reunion, 2019 in Tampa. That fucking building shook. That building shook more than when Austin came out. And I will say
once again, I'm never going to say John Cena's not over. I think he's a little bit more over right now because of the nostalgia aspect of it, because people did miss him. They did miss him. Because I just wrote a list on the 35 greatest SummerSlam matches, and I forget which one I was watching. Oh, the one I was watching the 2013 SummerSlam, Punk, Big Show, Cena, and they were booing him. And I hate it when people are like, no, he's always been no, the people turned on him a while ago. They just kept pushing past it, and Cena do the whole, oh, I love how I get a reaction no matter what bull crap. And he never embraced it. But I even think Cena's pop that night when he came to help The Rock from the Wyatt family was bigger than The Rock's pop that night.
Okay. We need to talk.
I don't know about that. I don't know if it's bigger than Cena, because Cena, fun fact, I was watching something a while ago. Cena, the crowd started to turn on him. It was him versus Jericho. I forgot which pay-per-view it was, but that's when the crowd was not 100% behind.
It was right after you got drafted to Raw. That's when I started disliking him too, because they had.
But the thing is,
SummerSlam.
So a couple of things. First things first. Stone Cold's comeback is not the comeback without The Rock. The Rock is not who he is without Stone Cold. They needed each other. That's point blank. Now, Stone Cold being a mega superstar that he is, yes, is a very slight edge, and that's because what he was doing fit the mold for an average American who hates their boss.
Okay.
And he didn't come from family.
He didn't come from
second
family.
generation. He wasn't third generation.
Like his whole thing. So I'll give him the slight edge, but classics were with The Rock.
Matches?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Okay, I can't.
You forgot Stone Cold
He had
versus
good
Triple
matches.
H and the three
Triple H,
stations of
Stone
hell.
Cold, Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13. Stone Cold.
What?
Daniel,
Excuse me?
SummerSlam.
Come on,
But the
B.
best
Come on,
feuds
B.
were Stone Cold and The Rock.
You know what it is?
I
I think
I'm
the
a little
big
biased.
matches because they were on Mania stage. Like the 2 times that everybody talks about was because it was a WrestleMania.
And the thing about it, they pushed each other. You're talking about the biggest stars at the time. The only time they had 2 superstars going up against each other. They could have done it with Macho and Hogan, but Hogan had his own issues. And
then Hogan put over Warrior. I will never understand that. There's nothing in this world that will ever help me understand how Terry put over fucking
Savage, Mr. Good for Business put over Warrior too, because like a person that does the best for business.
The Rock needed Stone Cold. Stone Cold needed The Rock.
But I'm just saying,
you know that.
In a wrestling, this is the question that was asked. If there was a Mount Rushmore, right, and it had Hogan, Flair, Austin, and Rock on it, they said those are the 4 people on it. But you had to take, and I'm not saying this person specifically because I'm not. I started watching it more in 2014ish, but I'm not the biggest fan. I think Meltzer actually asked the question. He was like, if you had to take one of those 4 people off to put on Okada, who would you take off? Right? And I know the obvious answer is probably Hogan. I get that. But like,
no. Mine's is Flair.
Outside. Oh, okay.
Me too.
I said The Rock.
Okay.
I can see why.
Wait. Before you continue on,
take Flair off.
Why would you take off The Rock? And please don't give no biased opinion because I'm gonna cut this clip up. Why would you take The Rock out? Explain.
Point blank, very small. I think The Rock is great at promos. I enjoy The Rock. He is one of the most popular superstars ever. Up there, the same like The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. About all popular stars, all great, right? But I feel like he is more of a global phenomenon today, and more people like him. Kids that weren't even watching wrestling back, they like him because of his Hollywood career more than his wrestling career. He's mainly known for his wrestling career. He's known for his wrestling career and his Hollywood career. Whereas Stone Cold Steve Austin is basically known for his wrestling career. When you look inside just a wrestling perspective, who's a bigger star? So in a wrestling perspective, not a Hollywood perspective, not who's
saying in a wrestling lens.
Yeah, who's selling the most box offices and selling the most movies and can come back and get the. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about from a wrestling perspective. If it came down between Austin and The Rock, who would I take off out of those 2? I'm going to leave Hogan and Flair there because they helped wrestling back when wrestling. There wouldn't be an Austin and Rock if there wasn't a Hogan and a Flair. So that being said, if I had to take either one of the 2 guys off that were from the same era, I would take off The Rock and I'd keep Austin there.
No, because
not even if you had to put Cena on the Mount Rushmore and you have to take any one of those 4 guys off to put Cena on.
He does make sense. No. Honestly, he does make sense though.
He makes sense for his opinion. That is fine. But I'm taking Flair off because those 2 men made wrestling mainstream.
Austin, what did we got to get over because Austin was mainstream though.
Wait, but this is the same
era. Would Rock have had an opportunity? It's the same thing. Like we're bringing Cena back. People can see the other stars on SummerSlam.
Flair, and y'all can say this. You can cut this up any way you want. Flair was never on the popularity of Hogan.
No,
never.
No. Myself, yeah,
never.
No. But that's the sound.
No, you're right. My bad. Not to the level as Hogan. You're right.
But you can argue that The Rock was almost at the same level as Stone Cold.
Yeah.
So that's why on my Mount Rushmore, I'm taking off Flair.
Wow.
Like honestly, reason why that I'll take off Flair, and this is me just watching wrestling. When Flair came to WWE, right? I was just like, all right, that's Flair from WCW, I guess. I wasn't that hyped. But when Hogan came to WWE as NWO, Hogan, I was
WCW.
Oh, my bad. When Hogan came over from WCW and came over as NWO with the two other members, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I was like, when Flair was on WWE television, I was just like, all right, cool. Flair is wrestling hot. He got hotter. Like, he got more mainstream when he came to WWE, when he was on the Evolution and stuff like that. Because outside of that, Flair's wrestling hot. Like, wrestling.
That was his comeback.
Well, I said this is
still,
a wrestling Mount Rushmore. I didn't say this was a WWE Mount Rushmore.
No, wrestling Mount on a standpoint, just wrestling, it would make sense to like basically take out The Rock. I could see that. Why? But as far as just like people who made an impact to get wrestling more of across the mainstream, Ric Flair got to get out of there because Ric Flair came on late on years. Because
Ric Flair. But would you put The Rock over? Would you put The Rock over The Undertaker? Would you put The Rock over Andre the Giant? Would you put The Rock over like? And if you're really old, if you were born in like the '60s, would you put The Rock over Bruno Sammartino?
I listen. I listen. Yes. I have no comment.
The other three guys I'd have to leave on there, and The Rock's the most replaceable one.
Don't listen to him.
The thing about it is this way, right? Bruno, you put him on there because he represents that era. You put Hogan, Flair, like you said, he was a Southern type of dude. He was a Southern wrestler. Yes, the NWA been like defending around the world, but it lost its luster after a while. So this is why Flair is good for the Mount Rushmore wrestling. But Flair didn't help get crossover to mainstream like that. He didn't. He was on the commercials, none of that. But no, Janelle, let's be serious. Have you ever seen the NWA title on television, on commercials growing up? No. Like, it was basically kind of dead during that time.
New York.
Listen, so, I'm different because, like
from
I told
New York, that wasn't New York's product.
Exactly. So Flair cannot be. Flair got to get out because he was Southern hot. Like
I think everybody's introduction to wrestling is going to be different. So their position, their placing of people is going to be different. For me, when I started watching wrestling, outside of when I started watching ECW, the first thing I watched was WCW. And the first person and the last person that I always saw on WCW Nitro was Flair. The person
they present Flair as a star, though. Did they present him as a mega star, though?
They presented him. Yes, they did. They presented him. He was in almost every big storyline, even to the point of when he started battling Eric Bischoff for the company and putting his career on the line and had the Four Horsemen. There would be no DX. There would be no Undisputed Era without the Four Horsemen. So,
but what the Four Horsemen commercials, though? What the Four Horsemen commercials?
Maybe in Georgia, maybe in Florida.
He was local hot. He was local hot.
No, but then what about now?
I said that, Gino. WWE, when he was in WWE for that run, he got hot. WWE allowed to be more of a global scale.
It depends on what you watch. It depends on what you watch. He was red hot in WCW.
Keyword WCW.
What is one of the greatest Royal Rumbles of all time? What is one of the greatest Royal Rumbles of all time? 1992. Just say it.
When he won the title. Okay.
No, but that's your opinion. One of my favorite
every opinion subjective. I'm just saying.
But I understand. But for me, Flair never brought WCW to that mega white hot level.
Thank you.
The only reason why I don't think Flair.
Eric Bischoff did. Are you gonna put him on the Rushmore now?
Right. Whoa! No!
If we talk about business,
if this is what we're doing, then it's Vince, Eric Bischoff, Paul Heyman, and Vince's dad. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah,
I'll put Dusty. I'll put Dusty.
I went a whole different direction because I said wrestlers.
All right,
I never felt that he was like he's Charles Barkley.
Who?
I put Ric Flair on the level of Charles Barkley.
Elaborate.
So you have let's go to back. Are you into ball?
I know the 90s stuff. I don't know so much.
Okay, fine. That's perfect. 90s, we got Jordan. Who's up there?
Reggie, Barkley,
Hakeem. and only certain people won a championship. I'm putting him at Barkley's level, where you're great, phenomenal Hall of Famer, but you ain't get over the hump because you're not a mega superstar.
No, he's right. I like that comparison because think about it. Barkley,
he's a superstar, not a mega superstar.
You're right. He is because
but like Janelle said, if you're looking at it from your perspective, and you're looking at it from a close perspective, which is if you're born in the South, you watch WCW with your first introduction to wrestling, you're gonna love Flair. Like I think Sting is overrated. I don't think Sting is that great. I think he's a superstar, not a mega superstar like people put him at. But
I think it's because he was never in the WWE and didn't have that run. I think he was a basis really off of who was a huge star in the WWE, and that's what it keeps coming back to me.
For me, it was who was a superstar in WCW during that era, who was carrying that company. But then again, you argue.
It would be Sting and Hogan.
Yeah. And it pushed
out. Sting's not a megastar. He's just a superstar because he wasn't in the WWE. He comes back to that again.
No. Because
it's a nice little revolving door.
Because like
from New York, they always refer to the WWE as like, if you're not gonna make it, you gotta make it in New York, and you guys are that product of that area, and WWE is your product.
No.
I can't make it here. I can make it anywhere.
I see it this way.
You guys believe. And you guys
I see it this way.
Came there. He didn't make it there as big as Hogan or anybody else. He went back to what wasn't New York, and that means he never succeeded as a megastar.
I see it this way.
Maybe.
I see it this way. I'm comparing it to how many stuff you see these people in outside of wrestling. During the time when WCW was going neck and neck, I didn't see Flair in the commercials. I saw Sting. I saw Goldberg. I saw Hogan. I saw a couple other dudes. WWE. I saw a whole plethora of dudes on commercials. A whole bunch. That's what, and that's what. Like I'm just going as me as a kid. I understand there's a little bit more to that. But the kid was like Baby Black. He didn't see Flair like that. And like, even in the video game, Flair was not front and center. And just like Barkley, people know him more from his inside the NBA than his playing career. A lot of these young cats don't know. They say, "Oh, he was whack." No, he was the beast. This is what I'm saying. Flair second run, or what's it there? I don't remember when he was in Evolution and stuff like that. It really got him bubbling because you forget WWE embraced him as a legend. They was talking about his title reigns. WWE made him hot. They put in the microwave. I think no.
You have to, okay. I just had an epiphany.
Hold on. Let him finish.
I had an epiphany.
No, Wrestling Classic. Go. What you guys say?
You just came back to it. Wasn't until he came to the WWE and they did their marketing machine to get behind Flair that Flair became a star. It just all came to me right now because we talked about something off the air. And I want to use the example of AJ Styles. If AJ Styles never came to the WWE, would he have never been a megastar in your mind because he never worked in the WWE?
Yes, of course. AJ? What?
So is that why you guys hate AEW so much?
Whoa, don't say y'all. Is that too above me? Not
because
me.
Those guys are not WWE guys. Kenny Omega will never be a WWE guy. The Young Bucks will never be a WWE guy. And they'll never reach that level of a John or Randy Orton or whatnot.
To be fair, a good chunk of who they've taken and acquired have been previous WWE people. So that has nothing. That ain't got to do.
Well, Kenny Omega never reached the level of superstardom unless he goes to the WWE. Is that your guys' philosophy?
No. I don't think.
Kenny was on a different level in New Japan, but once again, it really is more on: is that the product you're following? Like,
you want to see someone like an MJF go through WWE until you take him seriously as a megastar?
No.
Because I was watching MJF when he was in MLW before he got signed to AEW. So
you guys watch all these other products now, but anybody that might have been watching NWA or Jim Crockett Promotions back then, but also watches WWE that thinks that Ric Flair is a big star is wrong because those of you that were just watching WWE at the time.
I actually disagreed with them, and
you did disagree with them. You did.
So this is my thing.
Because Flair still talked about to this day his influence in hip hop, his influence in culture, in fashion, and all that shit.
And so he's the second time. No.
He wasn't just
Honestly,
wearing robes in WWE.
Janelle,
He
let's
wasn't
be
saying
real here.
boo for the first time
No,
in
let's be
WWE.
real here. WCW didn't advertise it correctly. They did not.
But whose
They
fault
did
is
not.
that Ric Flair? Was that his? And
But
I'm
did they
pretty
just not
sure.
advertise him correctly to the New York crowd that were WWE based?
No, the thing about it, they didn't advertise him. Like,
it's perspective.
You understand that like
perspective.
Vince cornered that market back there. He didn't let them come work in New York. They weren't allowed to book arenas up here.
I understand that, but I'm still saying they didn't
weren't allowed to
advertise
get
them right. They didn't.
They weren't allowed to get specific pay-per-view things because Vince was like, if you put Starrcade on this thing, then I'm not giving you guys WrestleMania. Like there was a whole reason why you guys didn't see Ric Flair the way that a lot of people saw Ric Flair for so many years.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel that on a perspective standpoint, overall, I feel Ric Flair wasn't, from watching WCW, I didn't feel like he was ever he went back and forth, and he was never really the main guy. Even during the Hogan times and all that other stuff, he wasn't the main guy. But I can understand why people say that because of his time in NWA. I'm not taking that away. Now to speak about AJ Styles, for instance, or Kenny's a god. Outside of America, Kenny's a god. Like there's no denying that. He's a fucking god outside of America. Now, when it comes to AEW, his matches have not been the godlike level he did over there. Like I was watching the Triple Mania, with the AAA match he had.
I didn't watch that. But how was it?
That was one of the best matches that Kenny has ever done in so long.
Do you think?
Oh my God!
Part of the reason is. But do you think that the part of the reason is because we see Kenny on a weekly basis now, but when he wrestled everywhere else, it wasn't a weekly basis because he's had some good matches in AEW, like against Hangman, like against Pac, but then just because he's supposed to be on a weekly basis, not all of his matches are going to live up to the hype that his very few matches did.
I think
that's why they don't have him wrestle every week either.
But I think he's on some Shinsuke thing where like my body's beat up. I can't go 100 miles per hour anymore.
I also think they wanted Shinsuke to work a WWE style. That's a whole different topic.
Oh, that's definitely.
But that's a clear, and he looks like he's okay with that. Like
he is. I think he just likes being in America, surfing and making money.
They
like to make money. They don't care about the stuff we care about. They want to make money.
He's happy. And then Kenny was gonna actually borderline retire before AEW came around.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke about that because he was like, my body's beat the fuck up. I can't do this anymore. He said it in the Young Bucks talked about it in their book, how Kenny was on his way out. He was just like, yo, I can't do this anymore.
Do you guys think that AEW I love how they give the people the freedom to do their own stuff and kind of cut their own promos and whatnot, which is fine. The promo thing I love the most. Like that's cool. Like bullet points, tell them what to. But when it comes to the wrestling, do you think they give them too much freedom with what they do?
Yes. Come on, because I don't need my opinion.
I actually like AEW. AEW. I'm a big AEW fan, but I tend to find myself having to watch a show twice just to digest it because there's too much happening too fast in every single match. And I'm just like, if every single match, one time I watched an episode of Dark, I swear, like I wish I can pinpoint the episode. I watched an episode of Dark, and there was a tope suicida in every single squash match was a tope suicida. And I'm like, is it too much? Like I get wrestling's evolving, yada yada, but is it too much?
No.
You need a variety, fast paced, slow paced, medium. Like.
So this is the problem. This is the problem, and I will tell you what the problem is. Number one, they're trying to get all their shit off, and that's the number one problem. Two, whoever when they're wrestling, especially when it comes to like, and I think the Bucks and Kenny did amazing shit for wrestling outside of WWE. I will never take that away from them. But bro, I don't need a 30-minute match to open up your show.
You're drained by the end of it. You're drained by the end of it.
Yeah, because
the rest of the show is kind of like.
It's way too long. Yeah. And the problem you're saying about Dark is because if you're at a show,
32 matches on the card every week.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're at a show, everybody shouldn't be doing the same move, like you just pointed out. So yes, this is going to be a squash match, but it should be a power type of squash match. The next one should be a speed type of squash with high flying moves. You have to change it up. But then it also says that nobody's producing these matches.
Yeah, and then that's what that freedom is what's scary. Because then I feel like everyone just has the intention to go out there and get their shit in. And if everyone's getting their shit in, then we're just seeing a lot of the same shit over and over again because everyone thinks their flip or suicide dive is the big pop of their match. But you need to, I think what the issue is now is it's not looking at the show from a match to match basis, but look at all the matches and being like, well, these guys are already doing a 450, 360, 500 million backwards flash, Phoenix, whatever. We don't need to do that in 3 of the matches.
But
that's a question.
But I'm gonna push back. I do watch a ton of AEW. I don't watch Elevate or all this other shows because it's a little bit too much to watch, and I need to digest other stuff. But on Dynamite, it do be definitely different variety of shows. You're gonna get, instead of a 20-minute promo, you're gonna get a 20-minute match, and sometimes you'll get a single match or a tag team match. And then you might get like a straight dominating match by my nigga Mero, or you might get my son Lance Archer. You might get a little funny match for someone else. There is definitely varieties when I watch Dynamite though. And
you're right, and I love Dynamite. I actually
Dynamite, yes.
The 2 shows I look forward to the most every week is SmackDown and Dynamite right now in this particular time. Those are the 2 shows I look forward to the most.
Facts.
But my biggest issue with Dynamite is always the same thing. If you listen to TLC show, I'm like, everything structurally on the show is great. And like I said, I usually have to watch it twice to digest everything because of what Wilkins said, where like sometimes in the first match they drain my energy, that everything else is kind of just like, I feel like the way they format the show and the order they put things sometimes is the biggest flaw with that.
And the order actually makes a really big difference.
Yeah.
Yes, because why am I eating my steak first and then I have my appetizer at the end?
And
or get dessert first. Well, you can have dessert first.
And most of the time, and I don't know if this is like most of the time, they try to get the Young Bucks out there first, which is almost the worst thing to do because the Young Bucks should either be in the middle to pick you back up or just close the show. Because if you have them on, because I do believe you should start off hot, but not that hot because the Young Bucks are like.
I mean, honestly, like I reach a point where I said that I've been saying it's 1,001 weeks. The Young Bucks are cool, but I don't want to see your stuff every week on 20 minutes. The 20 minutes, you could cut it down to 15 or probably 12. Some weeks to switch it up. And you could add another women's match. You could add another tag team match. You could add a random up and coming match versus someone from Dark and Elevation where like they both came off the ring against like a fight on the second match with a little bit more time. I feel the opening match is too long. Is it draining to me? No, because I learned not to watch it. You can always catch the last 10 minutes. It's just as good. So listen.
Yeah, smart. You're smarter than the rest of us because that's a smart technique there.
Because honestly speaking,
the first 10 minutes, I'm getting my weed roll up. I'm relaxing. I'm doing an exercise. So listen, I have a routine. Listen, I love AEW. Like I love AEW. Big Swole, my man Darby Allin. So I'm a little bit biased, but I see the fact that I see what everyone's concern is. Because there's one time when I first used to watch, I'm like, I'm tired. I'm going to bed after this match. Y'all did too much. I watched the highlights on YouTube later. But you are right though. That is the problem though.
It's not produced. It's. I've always said this. WWE and AEW are one extreme from the other. Where WWE is super controlling and AEW is like lackadaisy as fuck. And it's like, yo, bro, y'all both need to find a medium.
But then whoever's producing SmackDown is smart because they're like, just so it doesn't sound like we're just like trying to like criticize AEW. Like SmackDown's a really good show too, but it also has its boring stuff on there sometimes.
Of course.
Yeah, every once in a while they'll pull out an Otis and you're like, what is happening with this? I don't care about this. But they do it in a smart way where it's like they know there's maybe 2-3 things you're really into. Like for example, last week I want to see what happened with Roman and Cena. I want to see what happened with Seth and Edge, and I want to see what happened with Sasha and Bianca. And they made sure to separate those 3 things to keep you tuned in. And guess what? None of those things were matches. And they gave you good matches and stuff in the middle. And they put the boring stuff somewhere in the middle, but they made sure that even if there's boring stuff, you were going to keep watching because you wanted to see what happened with Sasha and Bianca. And AEW doesn't do that. I feel like they just throw stuff out there. And there's been times I watch AEW where like there's been a handful of episodes where I'm like, oh, I actually don't even need to watch the second hour. I don't care about the second hour.
the thing is, and that's the problem is where, and I've said this before, they have so much talent on that roster. That roster is like a super team, low key.
It really is. I almost think they shouldn't hire any more men because they have more than enough talented men.
Way too many people on that roster. So, and it's like what we're all saying right now. If they produce it a different way, bro, that show would be so much easier to digest. Because there's been weeks where the flow was amazing. You're like, yo, I'm ready. This is good. It's 10 o'clock already. Let's, you know what I mean? But they just need to use what they need to use the people that they have that's supposed to be their veterans better to help produce the show. Like I will also talk about, there was a segment with Andrade and they were going up against Lucha Bros, Pac, and what's the other dude? Death Triangle. And then Andrade kept going too long. The segment was going too long, and it was going like off course. Chavo came in and cleaned that whole shit up. But that's because he's a veteran. That's because he's been in the game for a long time, and they need veteran producers that they have in the back to help produce the show. But that's just, you know.
Well, I feel like a lot of the legends that they do have hired there are just happy to be collecting a paycheck. And
yes,
you guys are doing a great job. This is a great show. We didn't do stuff like this back in my day, but I'm not going to say anything. Like, you know? Because you know half of them are sitting there. There's been many times I'm like, I know for a like I genuinely think Tony Schiavone's just having a blast and happy to be back in wrestling. I think Excalibur's the old guy. But there is many times I'm like, yo, JR hates all of this. There is no way that JR is enjoying any of what he's calling.
Of this.
He hates all of this.
And that sometimes is my issue with AEW is the commentary. Like I've done commentary once or twice or 3 times or whatever. Commentary holds such an important role in the entire show that at times when you're at a live show, you don't really appreciate it because you can't hear the shit. But when you're at home and you're watching, you're like, I can close my eyes and commentary should be able to visually help me see what's going on. If I'm blind and I can't see the shit and I love wrestling and I'm only subjected to listen to these niggas, I don't know what the fuck going on. And I'm not excited because JR had the time sleep and not excited. So the shit is like, listen, bro, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like
he's not going to say anything because he's getting paid.
The thing about it is this. But the thing about it is this way, and like people do forget, he was a lead commentary at WWE for how many years? He is the voice. He is. A lot of people do forget that, and people forget that he is human. So when you've been doing something for so long, and now you become the third chair, the second chair, it's hard to adjust.
See, no, but I push back on it.
Let me finish.
When Michael Cole literally sat there, got interviewed, and said, "If Pat McAfee was not sitting next to me, I wouldn't know what I would really be doing right now."
Keyword. That's Michael Cole. There's 2 different people.
But it's the same. But it's that same mentality.
No, it's not. Let me finish. Let me finish. Michael Cole literally been the lead commentator for how many years? He probably let Pat McAfee bring a different side because Pat McAfee had different style of commentary compared to everyone else. Pat McAfee came in doing it his way. Everyone else, he trains to get repetitive. So back to JR. You went from a 2-man booth, literally with him and King, him and Taz, him and I think William Regal was on commentary during the time of NXT, and him doing other 2-man booth. You literally get from WWE side that you helped create. You helped Loki create one of the best class because he learned how to eye the talent. Then after that, WWE did you wrong. You go to New Japan. These are foreign names. It's going to take you out to just now. AEW is a 3-man booth. If you listen, when it was him or Cody or him and Jericho or just him and someone else, he killed it on commentary. So he's the type of, you know what, man, I'm not through the lead. I'm going to fit in where I can fit in.
I feel like he is the lead of the 3-man, though.
No, it's Excalibur. It's Excalibur.
But I do genuinely think, like, I'm not saying for all the segments, because there are stuff he does like, but if he's watching one of the Young Bucks matches, if he's watching the death match between Nick Gage and Jericho, you can clearly tell he's not enthused in his brain. Like, he's saying what he's meant to say, but in his head, you know, he's saying, this shit's trash.
No, because he's right. Because if you listen to him during a Young Bucks match, I swear he's like, what the fuck is this shit?
Like he's not about that wrestling, but that's when I came to realization that the legends that were working at AEW are just happy to be there.
But the thing is, though, it's not fair to the young guys.
Yeah.
That's not
it's
fair.
Not, but it's not only not fair to the young guys, it's not fair to us as fans that want to be invested in the storyline, and your ass is just sitting there bored as fuck.
Like,
and now I'm thinking like, well, fuck it. I guess it is what it is.
What is Sting doing? Like, what is Sting doing? He's just happy to be there. He's happy to be on TV. He's happy to be stand next to Darby in interviews where he barely says anything. He's happy. Everyone's just happy. And that's not a bad thing. They're old. They could be at home retired doing nothing, but they could have come here, work in wrestling, what they've been doing for the last 40 years. Their passion's ignited. I think everything as a segment, I was stupid. But let's go have some fun. And the one person that is like, you can literally tell is having the time of his life right now is Tony Schiavone. He just seems like he's having fun all the time.
But then the worst part about it is every single time, Tony Schiavone's in the middle of that ring and he starts talking and interviewing somebody takes that mic away from him. Literally.
Because they're new school. They think that's what they're supposed to do. And nobody...
You're actually not supposed to do that.
They literally don't let Tony Schiavone interview them at all.
No, that's your Britt Baker and he's your friend.
But because...
Except for Britt Baker.
Yeah.
But then again, though, what about The Rock? How many times The Rock took the mic from
Michael Cole?
Michael Cole in a backstage.
Come on, B. The Rock did it. Stone Cold did it.
In a backstage.
Ric Flair did it. Come on, B.
No.
B. In the ring.
So how many people kicked out Mean Gene? Rarely.
No, but the thing is,
no one.
But the thing is, but hold on.
No.
He's talking.
What?
Wait,
I said what I said. I stand by that.
It's wrong.
But
Me and Michael Cole were on TV at the same time.
Me and The Rock was on screen at the same time.
Not on the same screen. They were on TV at the same era. That's the same time.
The Rock, his high Mean Gene was in WCW. So stop it.
It's at the same time.
Wait. The problem is, listen, what the Wrestling Classic is trying to say, listen, this is what it is. When you're in the interview, that guy's putting you over. So you snatching the microphone from him is diminishing his ability to put you over in an interview. Now, when we speak about The Rock doing it, other guys doing it, at the time that they were doing this, they were red hot mega superstars. This is what I'm talking about. I love AEW. It's the Wild Wild West. But a lot of times the bare minimum basics that they need to do, they don't do it because they try to like go way left. And sometimes the basics is what you need to do. So when somebody's interviewing you, the reason why they're interviewing you is to get you over, to ask you questions, to make sure the crowd understands who you are. So why do you think Britt Baker never takes the microphone away from him? She doesn't need to because she's talking on the microphone. He's there to put her over, and she's talking on the microphone. So taking the microphone is a complete waste of time and diminishing your moment in the spotlight because now you're focused on the fact that you took the microphone away. That's just my 2 cents on that. It's not really that fucking important, but I just had to say that shit.
Listen, I get that. I 100% agree with you, but again, a lot of people have ADHD. I mean ADD. That's not the wrestling. Like I like there've been matches where it's been brilliant. Some people like I couldn't keep up. I'm like, how? It was super basic. All I'm saying is this: it's going to be the Wild Wild West for a little bit because anything when you first started off is going to be crazy. That's what I've been telling people since day one. Give it time. Give it time. All your complaints, you never know. In 2 years, it might be different. Like literally, AEW.
They might hear this and change something.
Right. AEW from day one, it's biggest figure. And nobody want to talk about this. The tag team matches. It was literally a bunch of. It was like, wow, I'm watching indie wrestling on the big screen. Jericho talked to everybody. They cleaned it up. Come on.
And now give them the credit that they do listen to what people are saying. They're really bad with criticism when it's heard by a lot of people, but they do listen. And they've changed stuff a lot over time. They have.
Yeah, that's why I feel like
it's still a new company. They had to suffer through a pandemic to not really be on the road to like have the opportunity to be the company. Like realistically, we only had AEW in front of fans for like 4 months, and then a pandemic hit, which was kind of a bummer. So like obviously now they're back on the road and they're going to try to figure out again. And the things we're complaining about, I'm not complaining in a negative way. I'm hoping maybe someone will hear this. Like, no, these idiots have a point. Like,
I definitely agree with you.
That makes sense. These are our fans. And AEW has a really there's obviously different chefs in the kitchen back there. And this is one thing I've been saying since day one is I think they do a really good. There's certain people there that are, I think, more focused on this though than others. Like I think Cody's more big picture, but there's a lot of people there where I think they're really good. They're really like they are like better than WWE, like fantastic, like above and beyond at catering to the fans they already have. They don't know how to bring in new people. They don't try to bring in new people. We're wrestling fans. We're going to watch it because we're wrestling fans. But what have they done? Other than the few times they bring in Shaq or they bring in Snoop and then it's gone, to try to bring in casual fans, they don't do much because everything's, think about it. They expect you to watch Dark. They expect you to watch Elevation. They expect you to watch BTE. They expect you to keep up with everything that's happening just to understand their show. And those people that make the effort to watch everything love their show. And the rest of us sometimes get confused. Because they are really good at catering to the fans. How many people really knew who the F Fuego del Sol was if they weren't watching Sammy's vlog every week and the story about him leaving all that? It hit my heart. Because I watched Sammy's vlog. But if you were a casual person tuning into Rampage and you heard rumors that CM Punk might show up on one of these shows and be like, yo, there's a new AEW show. I heard Punk and Brian are coming. And some guy, some redneck in a luchador mask, and listen, I love Fuego del Sol. I interviewed him as a dope dude, but I'm just saying some redneck in a luchador mask, all of a sudden he gets a contract after losing a Miro and his record's 1-50. Are you sitting there like, I wonder why this guy's getting a contract? It makes no sense. Unless you watch that vlog.
So I'm going to push back on
that. He's not Mexican?
No, it's a white dude.
No.
He was just hella tan.
But the thing is, I'm gonna push back. But the thing about it, no. So you're 100% right. You're 100% right about that. But they don't need to do that. And I'm gonna tell you why.
I've heard this argument. Go ahead.
TNT is still giving them the motherfucking checks.
No, 100%.
That's the only reason why I don't get mad at them. And their fan base, as we see online, because I get shit from it,
Same.
As we see when we go to events, as we see everywhere they go, are rabid. So whatever that they do, they will buy it. Now, if they stop catering to them, that will be their downfall.
I don't think they stop catering to them, but I think they find ways.
You gotta find a balance.
No, you guys are right.
They don't even need to have a sold out crowd, right? They don't need to have a sold out crowd, and that crowd will be louder and more passionate than a WWE crowd because half those crowds are sitting in their hands and just parents bringing their kids to these shows and don't even really know the product, other than John Cena and Randy Orton and people they knew from 10 years ago. And they're like, yeah, I know that guy. I'm going to cheer. Otherwise, they don't know. They don't know who Bianca is. They don't know who Sasha is. They're just going to know who Roman is. He's a Rock's cousin. Like that's how WWE fans are. But AEW fans, to your point, are passionate. They're rabid. They love this product. They're on the movement. They could have half the arena empty, but that crowd will still be louder than a crowd you see on Monday Night Raw.
Definitely.
Without a doubt. And they're also the most defensive crowd on the internet. Trust me, I know. Them and John Cena fans, same level. But my thing is this, okay? And we all knew like numbers suffered for wrestling because I can tell you firsthand, even like some of my closest friends that watch wrestling stopped watching wrestling weekly during the pandemic because they had a hard time watching wrestling without fans. Thunderdome or not, people, it just was hard to watch wrestling without fans. Like I just can't do it.
Really?
I don't know, it's hard. A lot of people like I just can't watch the shows. I watch the highlights. I keep up with what happens. I can't watch the shows. So now that fans are back, and we can all agree, since fans have been back to AEW, the show can even be kind of bad, but the fans just enhance the experience already so much that it makes it more enjoyable to watch. So make sure that it makes sense that they're cracking 1 million again. That doesn't surprise me at all. But what's going to take them to 2 million? What's going to take them to 3 million?
You're right. They have to get casual fans, but I truly do think they don't care for that because
ECW didn't either. And look where they ended up.
No, ECW lost it because of network.
Because they had no money.
They had no money.
They had no money.
Yeah. So,
that's solely why ECW went to shits. They didn't have no money.
Yeah, you know that.
You know, to their point, they clearly weren't making so much money with just the hardcore fans.
Of course,
fans to make more money.
But
you need a John Cena where half of those hardcore fans hate to make more money.
They do, but I think that's the reason why Danielson and Punk are coming.
But the thing about it
is Bryan Danielson a draw outside of wrestling?
No.
Yeah.
Outside of wrestling.
Outside of
wrestling and the Total Bellas world, is he a draw?
And that's barely because he didn't really want to do it to begin with.
But the thing about it is, we all have brands, and you cannot deviate from your core audience. If you look up everything on YouTube to be successful, you stick to your core audience. Because if you go against your core audience, when those flippy floppy fans they come in and leave, you need those core audience that will buy your T-shirt. You need that. Like, for example, the hardcore now, we live in a world where your hardcore fan base is going to get you to the top. For example, right? Why do you think that Power Rangers is still successful and still kicking to this day? Because of the hardcore fan base that still make it relevant to this day. When my son Jason became Lord Draco, everybody got, oh, okay, all us hardcore fans like, oh, I love that. The casual fans, they're looking like, who is this dude? Oh, he's good. All right, cool. You need somebody to bring you in and explain certain different stuff. Yes, I may not watch everything else, but I keep up just a little bit though. So you need that hardcore fan base. Yes, I understand where Eric Bishop come in and all these other people saying that, but like you said, they only been in front of their fans for 4 months. The pandemic ruined everything, kind of stole up certain things. The original Blood and Guts was supposed to be the Inner Circle versus it was the
Elite versus Inner Circle.
Versus Inner Circle. Then stuff got changed up. So you need to stick to your fan base. Now, what if WWE really stick to their fan base throughout the whole year, but still evolve? What if, like, they do certain, they try to go back to their fan base by bringing back these old school dudes? AEW, they have to do this for a while because now when you look at it on paper, you coming in, who can I ask if they came to their fan base? Why do you think that to this day Lucha Underground is still hot? Because their fans still talks about it. And because of those fans, people love Prince Puma. You understand? People love, what's that dude's name that Prince Puma used to go against, that big crazy brawler? What's his name? Was it Jeff Cobbs that was under that mask? I don't remember. But certain dudes people still love to this day. So you need your hardcore fan base. Like,
but if you have the elite there, that hardcore fan base ain't going anywhere. Because that's who they're really supporting. This company started off the backs of the Bucks, Kenny Omega, Cody. Like, that's the core.
But there's one problem that's not happening though. There's only one problem with that. And what happens when they leave?
They're not going to. They shouldn't. The EVP.
No. When they start dying out. Like, you have to think.
But I think they've done a really good job building new stars for this fan base. The MJF, the Jungle Boys,
but they have to.
Darby Allins. No.
So true.
But my only thing is, don't they want to get to that 2 million, that 3 million?
That's my question. If TNT's okay with these ratings, maybe they're okay just catering to this fan base. But if there was a network that was like, hey, we want this to be better, or someone comes in that TNT, because someone comes in that office and says, well, we need better ratings from this wrestling show, then they got to do something different. And I think you can keep your same hardcore fans as well as growing from it. It's just, are you going to lose some fans along the way? Probably. But every great company has, I think, you know.
But I think what it is right now, content is king, and you know that because you have a page, you're doing what you're doing, and we're doing the same thing. It's these companies want all year round content, and wrestling gives them that. So they're going to give them, like, if we're doing 7,500K, you know what I mean? 750K and $1 million consistently, a top of the demographic, they're gonna be like, all right, here's some bread. Because WWE ain't doing that much better anyways. They're doing twice as much, but not like 4.5 like back in the day. So it's a weird thing, but like you said, they are building up stars, but they're gonna need to. They have to decide if they want to go that mainstream level.
It's just the fact that if I was to talk to a friend today and I was trying to explain anything wrestling to them, and they don't watch wrestling no more, and they stop watching. They only know the WWE. WWE's Disney, right? They're McDonald's. They're the brand.
Yeah.
And I think AEW's done a really poor job to, outside of the wrestling bubble, be like, hey, we are a different company out here. Because when I say AEW, my friends are like, what is A&W? Like, like Mama Burger, Papa Burger, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's why I'm like, there's a disconnect. Because even WWE in the days when it started to want to be national TV, this and that, they tried to connect to everyone.
Of course.
And that's where I think there's going to be the downfall, because it doesn't matter how good you are with your hardcore fans and whatnot. They'll always spend money on your product, and you can keep this going over and over, but you're never going to be – you don't – like, Cody Rhodes needs to stop saying we are the competition if you're facing Disney, but you're acting like, I don't know, Cartoon Network or something. I don't fucking know.
But competition is competition, though. You understand? Like Floyd, like when he was in boxing, the 59 person still threatened him because at any moment he could still come up. So regardless of what it is, though, baby, like
I don't think you can take down the beast. I don't think you can Smog.
When you're a worldwide billion-dollar company, like that whole competition shit just that don't hit.
But it's still competition, though. It doesn't matter though.
So then everybody that's saying that need to talk about MLW. They need to talk about Ring of Honor. They need to talk about all of. They need to talk about.
That's not the point.
AWA.
That's not the point. Do not move the goalposts. We talk about AEW now, Janelle.
They need to talk about all these other promotions that are competition. If we're gonna say that.
It's not competition, because the thing about it, AEW hasn't come to a point where it's cutting into Raw and SmackDown.
True, but it's still somewhat competition. Like the best rapper alive, he's looking like, okay, this guy's over here bumping it up. Matter of fact, bump that. Let's say how the number one seed, they're looking at the AC looking like, even though that he might be in the lead of the same competition, but still somewhat competition. They always say in any sports, at any given day, any given Sunday, the worst team could be the best team. It's still some competition. You got to take every competition just as seriously. I used
to say the only way and the only reason AEW is competition, because I don't think it's competition to us fans, because look, there's no part of me that's going to watch AEW more than I'm going to watch WWE, or going to watch WWE more than AEW. I'm a wrestling fan. I'm going to watch both. So is that really a competition? I'm going to watch both. Yes. And I have the ability.
They just become options.
They're just become options. But the only way that it was competition was from a professional level, from people that weren't us. I mean, in the sense that like now wrestlers, when they're renegotiating contracts, have something to leverage. Like I can go over there and make money. Like that's where it was a threat to the WWE. But as we've seen in the past like 4 or 5 months, they don't really care about that anymore. They're just letting people go and be like, yeah, go ahead, go over there, do your thing. So like
now I think one of the biggest reasons why they let people go is they're definitely doing some homegrown talent type of shit.
And also, you have to admit, right? You have to admit there was a bunch of years there, and I was saying this too back. I'm like, it feels like they're just hiring anybody that's hot in independence to hoard talent, so they don't go anywhere else, and they're not popular outside of the WWE. They're just going to be popular, and obviously, Triple H had that whole plan to have an NXT expansion and have an NXT India and NXT China and NXT UK, and they were just hiring everybody and anybody. Now they realize we have waste. Because I always said that about WWE, and I'm almost starting to feel the same way about AEW because they have less shows and whatnot. But I was like, well, WWE, I'm like, they have way too much talent and not enough to do with all of them. Like, there's never going to be enough time for all of them. And the way they book Raw, they could have more time to use all these people, but they're not going to. So like,
yeah, let's well, we've been talking for a while.
Oh, a good little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we have to do well. Hopefully we able to come back to New York.
Yeah.
No, soon. I will soon.
Listen,
my buddy doesn't ask me. He's like, "Are you coming to Vegas?" I'm like, "I'm not coming to Vegas."
Yeah, that was the $1 million question this week. Are you coming to Vegas? No. The flights were really expensive, so I declined.
I have a bunch of stories of last minute trips that I just showed up places, and I remember I said to my buddy Jonathan, he's like, "Are you coming to Vegas?" And Jonathan Bowles does a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, "I don't think so." He's like, "We'll see about that." I'm like, "No, I'm actually not coming." Like, I know I've shown up to Arizona for the Rumble at a bar out of nowhere, and everyone's like, "What the hell? You said you weren't coming?" Or I showed up to New Orleans randomly last minute, but I'm like, I'm actually not showing up anywhere. So.
Well, November's around the corner,
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. It was really soon. SummerSlam, I feel like SummerSlam crept up real fast for me. And I was like, oh, it's already here. Like, that's
kind of. I don't know.
Last question. We'll wrap this up real quick because I'm curious because this is the match I'm looking forward to the most, and hopefully it takes place. Hopefully, Sasha or Bianca.
Who wins?
Yeah,
I think Bianca wins it.
Bianca.
Yeah.
Just Sasha taking the belt back. You have to.
I think
it would be like such a sticky ending.
And no, I don't. And she's a heel. I don't care if it's.
It wouldn't be clean.
Yeah, I don't care about that. She's a heel. I don't care about it being clean, but I expect it to be 1-1 and then we get a rubber match.
And then they finish that Survivor Series or Mania next year.
Even Extreme Rules if they have to because they're gonna do a shakeup after. Just put the belt back on Bianca. I do think the first match and the second match had to happen in WrestleMania and SummerSlam. And if you want the third match to happen in Survivor Series or WrestleMania, for sure. But I kind of think they're leading to Bianca. I'm not saying they are, but I kind of think the WrestleMania money match before she maybe leaves is Bianca versus Charlotte.
Well, Bianca said her goal is to go through the 4 horsemen.
Yeah. 4 horsemen.
I think by WrestleMania you want to go Bianca Charlotte. By WrestleMania.
But so then I think so then
well,
if
what
that's
if Becky
the case,
comes back? What if Becky's come back?
It could be Becky too, but I just think
no.
When I think of powerhouses, I think Charlotte Bianca.
What I think what ends up happening if they go that route is during the Superstar shakeup, they put Becky on SmackDown, they put her with Seth. They leave Seth on SmackDown. They put Belair on Raw. That'll help her get to Charlotte. If that's what they do.
But then Sasha keeps the belt off her then? And
no, so then it goes to your theory of Sasha winning at SummerSlam. They're going to do the shakeup
and they
between
keep them
September.
at 1-1 and they save it for the future one day?
Correct. So this is why long-term storytelling booking happens because they do shit like this where you turn around, you be like, oh shit, that was like 8 years ago.
Oh yeah, they're 1-1. Who's going to win this third match?
So I think that'll be the way. But this whatever draft they're going to do is around October. So
yeah, and I definitely want Becky and Bayley on the same brand now because I'm done with, and I think we've had enough time to finally have Sasha and Charlotte back on the same brand again.
So the match question.
I just want Sasha Bayley split. I want Sasha Bayley.
Yeah. What's the review after SummerSlam?
Extreme Rules because they got
So if that's the case, I don't think Sasha. I mean Bianca's gonna. I think Bianca. Because they're funny like this, where they'll make them win at the big pay-per-view and lose on a B pay-per-view. So I think Bianca's gonna win, but just to set up to go to Raw, it makes more sense to lose at the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's true too.
Because
but I like the idea of it being a rubber match, and then it's just too.
Yeah. I mean, then again, this is the same WWE that have people do rubber matches for 4 months straight.
That's true. But I think they've done the way they've booked Sasha and Bianca has been so well because the one thing I really do like about Sasha, and I don't know if we ever really get the reasons why, sometimes it's film and whatnot, but I like that she leaves. I like when it's the time for her to be off of TV and they got nothing for creative for her, she's not there. Rather than her being there and having mini feuds until she comes back to Bianca. Like the fact that she was gone and then she came back and right back to Bianca, like I loved that. Rather than her being there while Bianca was defending the title against Bayley and Carmella, and Sasha's like maybe beating up Liv Morgan or something. Like I like the fact that she just left and now came back.
But let me ask you a question and be honest. They don't like. I feel like they're top heavy, and then mid card they don't push them to be threats. There's no up and mid card like Natalia. Natalia will get good runs, good matches, but then all suddenly she'll lose embarrassingly like. How she lost Liv Morgan and like Liv Morgan had been on TV for weeks. There's no sense of real balance of building up a mid card for like the WWE talent, for women's talent. They had a tag team division, but they treat that as a joke. So how can you make serious like what's the point of Sasha, all these other girls be on television if the mid card sucks? Now, if they had a solid good mid card, how they had back in the day in the SmackDown 2016, I could go for that. But
oddly enough, Raw kind of has a mid card with this whole Alexa Doudrop Eva thing. But
let me ask you a question: do you get excited when you see that match? No,
but it's something.
I like Doudrop though.
Again, do you get excited? Janelle, I didn't say do you like them or not. Do you get excited?
I was just saying. So like when I see her and I see like, regardless of what people may say about Eva Marie, like.
She's doing exactly what everyone hates.
Of course. But again, do you get excited to see them on screen? You like them, but you don't get excited for it. You go, ooh, like when you okay. You already Uber
There is a
Eats.
small part of me that likes to see Eva Marie troll because she's
Keyword,
doing
yes.
everything that like she doesn't wrestle. Everyone she came back and like she doesn't wrestle.
And then every time old girl wins, she says that she wins.
She's
So
tweeting
it's
like,
like,
You're right.
like what she learned in the independent circuit when we all know she didn't wrestle.
Right. But the thing about it is when your Uber Eats come and you see them on screen, do you run back to see what they're doing next? You may like them, but are you happy to see them on screen? No, you don't. I always say this. When I see Roman on screen, you know, talking his trash, whatever, my Uber Eats come, I'm running back to see what Roman does. When I see
every
KO
week
on
I tune in
screen, you
SmackDown
running
for
back.
Roman and Sasha. Those are my 3 I tune in SmackDown for every week.
You see, when Sasha and Bianca on screen, you get excited. But there's no one else beyond that. Like the mid card sucks for the women. NXT, on the other hand, all the women is must see TV. When my Uber Eats come, I'm running to see these women kill each other.
I think SmackDown has like they were struggling for a bit with the women's division, but they brought a bunch of women there, and I think they have more women that I actually care to see because I do kind of like Shotzi. I'm cool with
I love
Carmella.
Shotzi.
I'm cool with Carmella, so like I have this admiration for Carmella. Like she's rocked my shirt on Total Diva. She's actually like treats me like a friend and shit. Like I have nothing but love and respect for Carmella. Same thing with Zelina. But these are because of my personal relationship. So like it's I guess.
See, but
I mean,
again,
but I get that's just all of us. Like when we're all like have a personal like.
Yeah, but like on the Raw side, I got yeah.
I don't like nobody.
There's Charlotte. Like I literally think Charlotte's the biggest star in Raw. On that, like when Charlotte comes out, I'm paying attention, and that's
right.
it.
And the crazy thing about it, it's not the women's fault. I feel bad because the women do their best, but if you're not presenting them properly, come on. I feel like the best time women wrestling was the Edge. I was like, yo, I love them. Ruthless Aggression, Molly Holly, Victoria, Trish, Jazz, all these women. I want to see Molly Holly versus Victoria. I want to see Mickey James versus Molly Holly. Something Ivory. No, Ivory wasn't there. I want to see different women there. It made it must see. Trish Stratus versus Victoria in a hardcore match. Good match. You understand?
Yeah.
You cared about the women. Now it's just outside of a handful of you may like them, but they don't make you run after Uber Eats.
Do you think the women should still be featured on Raw and SmackDown, but still have one show that's just theirs?
People are too sexy. I love it.
People wouldn't respect it because it's the same people that didn't respect
205 Live.
Respect Revolution.
That 205 Live should be gone too, and that
205 Live should be trash. Should be gone.
Okay, so second question. You think because this is the thing I always said about the women's division. Obviously, the tag titles. That was something I wanted since I started my page in 2014. Like at one point they had so many women. I was like, why don't they have tag titles? And they always put women in tag teams, and they finally brought them. They haven't booked them properly, which
I've never. And listen, I am one girl power all the way. They are my witness. I never won a tag team belt for women.
I did.
It never made sense to me. Because for me, when I look at a tag team, it's so much more than just putting two people together. They gotta have a certain amount of chemistry with each other. And there's not enough women that come in together as a duo that has chemistry like that in order to carry the belt that they wanted to. Like look at the Iconics. They came in together, but old girl thought she could okie doke and get her own singles run, and that backfired and all that other shit. And that was that.
But let me ask you a question. In the Indies, is there a women's tag team division anywhere? No. So how can women come in as a tag team and do tag team stuff?
I agree.
But my question was gonna be, and we're going really long. I think Wilkins getting stressed. My question was gonna be, my question was just gonna be,
it's fine, not good. I'm just listening.
Okay, should there be a mid-card title for the women's then? Because that's what's missing. Then there's 2 heavyweight titles technically. Those 2 women's titles are like those brands' heavyweight titles. They don't have anything for the mid-card to fight for.
So I think, honestly, only way they can have a mid-card title if they have a show dedicated to women and they present it well. Because on the Indies,
they don't have to have a show.
On Indies, there's no mid-card women's title. On the Indies, there's no women's tag team titles. Women are winning the tag team title from men. There's no dedicated division anywhere. So how can you develop that? The only people I see that could really do that is Impact. Because Impact Women's Division is fire.
Well, the thing is, Raw is 3 hours. They can put it on Raw. They have the time on
to your point, they should have kept the cruiserweight division on Raw.
Correct. The 205 shit should have been the first hour of Raw, just like it was the first hour.
They just mixed it in there, and then they shouldn't have segregated it. They should have let the cruiserweight wrestle some of the other guys sometimes too.
But see, I think what ended up happening was
purple and gone all extra for it.
What ended up happening was when Enzo really made it pop. They didn't really want him to make it pop.
Yeah.
So they segregated all of them just so that he wouldn't really overshine, because that's what everybody don't give him the credit I really think he deserves sometimes. And because he saved that division, and nobody will say that, but because I think he started to get over, and he was getting over by himself and him just talking. And they were just like, we just gonna put all you people that's under 205 pounds on this day and call it and that's that.
But 205 was bubbling. Mustafa Ali versus Buddy Murphy, and come on, that street fight, you had dudes. What they did, they took them off and put them on somewhere else. Come on, Cedric in 205 Live. Come on, was a monster.
I don't think it was because he was getting over. I think it was they were like, "Yo, this is hot now. He's getting this hot. Let's give them more time. Let's develop this somewhere else instead of just putting it on Raw. This dude is fucking hot. Let's get some more segments in. This is more ad money that we can get in on the network. This is more thing that we can do." I think that was the biggest thing when it came to him. But then obviously he had a situation.
And I think their care for the network has totally changed since Peacock took over. And they're just like,
yeah,
all the stuff that was network focused is kind of like,
yeah, that is so true though.
Yo, they got the bag from Peacock. They said, "Yo,
they built something cool." They got the bag, and then they're like,
"Yo, they ran off with the plug. They ran off with the plug. They ran off with the plug."
I need to either come back on it again, or you guys need to come on my show. I'd be more than happy to have you guys.
Hell yeah.
I have questions like, do you think they're gonna sell the company now that we're heading that direction? But we're not gonna go there today. But
we're
gonna be here all day if that's the case. It was a pleasure being on there. I was trying to find you guys on social media, but DM me and I'll follow. I know I follow Wilkins already, but I'll follow both of you as well. You guys shoot me a DM. Sir. But
no, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
You've probably been the longest lounge episode we probably had.
Oh, sorry.
I
said at the beginning I talk a lot, but
this is how long we typically go, like when we regularly record.
An hour, if that.
So.
Nah, it's a lot of times people come on and we have to pull teeth sometimes, and then they have to get comfortable because it's like their first time
of what we're gonna say or what we're gonna do, so they feel us out and then they get comfortable, and then after the show they're like, "Yo, this was so much fun," and we were just like, "Can you just trust us in the beginning? We got you."
I've been there with that with people too, where they get nervous and like, I don't know what you're gonna. I'm like, no, I'll guide you through it, and I think that's a difference. I also do my own show, so I came on with the. Yeah, I know how to stir the pot. Let me ask you guys a question.
Oh no, I love it because we don't get to like whenever we're on someone's show, which is rarely. Yeah. Like people don't ask us questions, so it creates a conversation, which is.
I'm used to doing that, so I kept doing that too. So let me tell you about this Mount Rushmore idea.
I mean, no, yeah, I love
it.
No, but thank you so much. Please drop every handle you got, where people can find you, and all that jazz.
So on Instagram, it's The Wrestling Classic. I also have merch at TWC Worldwide _ when my page got deleted, I made that my backup page, my old merch page, and it was just called TWC Worldwide, and I grew to 45K in those 5 months. And then when WWE gave me back this page, they deleted that one. So
talk about
I had to negotiate a lot of different things, but I'm still here. They like me enough that I'm still
strong.
They still appreciate me to an extent. They can't fully control. I told them too. I'm like, you guys want to pay me, you guys can't control me.
So listen, try to get that bag.
Everybody already thinks I'm on payroll. You might as well just pay me already. But other than that, guys, TWC show wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iTunes, The Wrestling Classic on YouTube. I don't tweet as much as I want to. I used to tweet a lot, Darren Ross, SmackDown, this and that, but I feel like there's already a Twitter wrestling community. It's wonderful. I follow a lot of the people in that Twitter wrestling community. I tweet sometimes, but it's TWC Worldwide on Twitter because the Wrestling Classic was too long. So you can follow me at TWC Worldwide on Twitter, the Wrestling Classic on Instagram. And honestly, like to make your life simple, just follow me on Instagram, click the Linktree link in my bio, and all the links for everything is there. Oh, I have a Patreon too, where we drop the TWC show episodes in video form, and we give you exclusive episodes. And
you're getting money.
And it's in collaboration with my boy Rain City Toys. So if you are a figure collector or you're looking for exclusive figures, you get figures early, AEW figures and stuff too. If you're subscribed to the Patreon, you get first come, first serve, and you also get discounts on these toys and stuff. So
okay, awesome. I like figures.
For as much as $2 a month.
If you ever get across the border and get those Macho Man shirts, I am a 2X. Thank you so much. Okay.
No, for sure. Well, for sure, they're cool shirts, man. And
because he's my favorite wrestler of all time, so that makes sense.
Wrestler of all that captured my imagination. Once again, another topic for another time. For having me on here.
Oh, he jumped back on.
And yeah, I'm I know this week I got my SummerSlam and NXT predictions I'm gonna do, but if you guys want to come on the TWC show next week, let me know. We can reunite the same panel. And we can review SummerSlam and NXT.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's do that.
As always, I am Janelle from HR here with Sir Wilkins and Mr. Black, and thank you to the infamous The Wrestling Classic for joining us this evening. Hashtag Black Excellence. Hashtag we are out.
I was over, got the hands in motion. If you go with rolling, no need to focus. Traveling states and over oceans. You gotta wait till your coast chosen. Trying to have lines outside the show like Harry Potter releases at Barnes and Noble.